Have you ever done everything right, given everything you had, and still felt invisible? Have you ever been the one who always shows up, but when you need someone, nobody comes? That feeling has a name. It's called being taken for granted. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly why it happens, and more importantly, how to make it stop. This is the story of Sarah. Listen carefully, because her story is probably yours too. Sarah was the kind of woman people described in one word: reliable. At work, she was the first to volunteer, the first to stay late, the first to say, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." At home, she remembered everyone's birthdays. She cooked. She cleaned, she listened. She was always there. Her friends called her the Rock. Her family called her the responsible one. Her colleagues called her a lifesaver. Beautiful words, but here is what they didn't call her. They didn't call her first when they had good news. They didn't check on her when she was quiet. They didn't ask, "Sarah, how are you doing?" Because somewhere along the way, without anyone deciding it, Sarah had become furniture, always present, always useful, never truly seen. She noticed it slowly, like how you don't notice a room getting darker, until suddenly you can't see anything at all. It started with small things. Her colleague James would take credit for her ideas in meetings, not aggressively, not with bad intention. He just forgot to mention her name. Her friend Priya would cancel their plans last minute, always with a good reason. Always with a "you understand, right, you're the best." And Sarah would smile and say, "Of course, no problem," because that's what reliable people do. But one Tuesday evening changed everything. Sarah had a terrible day. Her project was rejected. Her boss criticized her in front of the whole team. She drove home in silence, hands tight on the wheel. Trying not to cry, she needed someone. She picked up her phone, scrolled through her contacts. 47 people. She had helped every single one of them. At some point in her life, she scrolled and scrolled and scrolled, and then she put the phone down because she realized she didn't know who to call. Not because she had no friends, but because she had spent so long being strong for everyone else. She had never let anyone be strong for her, and now she didn't know how to ask. The next morning, Sarah walked into work and found an email from her manager. The new project, the big one, the important one, had been assigned not to her, to James, the same James who had used her ideas for months. The same James who had never stayed late, never volunteered, never said, "I'll handle it." Sarah read the email 3 times, then she walked to her manager's office. "Why, James?" she asked quietly. Her manager looked up, a little surprised. "James is very visible," he said. "He speaks up, he takes initiative. You're great, Sarah, incredibly dependable, but honestly, we sometimes forget you're there." "We forget you're there," Sarah nodded. She walked back to her desk. She sat down. And those 5 words played on repeat in her mind, like a song she couldn't turn off. "We forget you're there, we forget you're there, we forget you're there." That weekend, Priya called. "Sarah, I need a huge favor. My presentation is tomorrow, and I'm panicking. Can you come over and help me tonight?" It was 8 p.m. Sarah had already changed into her pajamas. She had a book she'd been trying to read for 3 weeks. She was tired, deeply bone-tired. She opened her mouth to say yes. The word was already formed, ready to come out, like it always did, but something stopped her. A small voice, quiet but clear. "Sarah, when did Priya last ask how you were doing?" She thought about it. She couldn't remember. When did she last cancel her plans for you? Never. When did she last show up without needing something? Silence. Sarah took a breath. And she said something she had never said to Priya before. "I'm sorry, I can't tonight, I need to rest." Silence on the other end of the phone. Then, "Oh, are you okay?" "I'm fine," Sarah said. "I just need tonight for myself." Another pause. "Okay, I guess I'll figure it out." The call ended. Sarah sat with the discomfort. Her heart was beating fast. Her hands felt strange, because saying no, even when it was right, felt like doing something wrong. And that is the trap. That is exactly the trap that kind people fall into. We have been taught, by our families, by society, by years of experience, that our value comes from our usefulness, that love must be earned through service, that if we stop giving, people will stop caring, so we give and give and give until we are empty, and then we wonder why people don't see us. But here is the painful truth. The truth that nobody wants to say out loud. When you are always available, you have no value in people's eyes. Not because they are evil, but because humans naturally value what is rare and take for granted. What is always there. Think about oxygen. You breathe it every second of every day. You cannot live without it. It is the most important thing in your life. But when did you last think about oxygen? When did you last feel grateful for it? You don't, because it's always there. Sarah had made herself oxygen, essential, invisible. Taken for granted, she opened her journal that night, and she wrote one sentence: I have taught people how to treat me. Now I need to teach them something different. She underlined it, then she stared at it for a long time. Because she knew, changing how people treat you is not about confronting them. It's not about anger. It's not about revenge. It's not about becoming cold or selfish. It's about something much quieter, much more powerful. It's about changing yourself. Over the next few weeks, Sarah made small changes, not dramatic, not loud, just quiet shifts. First, she stopped over-explaining. Before, when she said no, she would give 5 reasons, 3 apologies, and offer an alternative. Now she simply said, I can't make it. No explanation, no guilt, no performance, and something strange happened. People accepted it, because confidence needs no defense. Second, she stopped being the first to help, not because she became selfish, but because she waited to see who would step up, and she discovered something surprising. The world didn't fall apart without her. Other people had hands too. Other people could figure things out. She had been carrying weight that was never hers to carry. Third, she invested in people who invested in her. She started noticing, who called just to talk, not just to ask, who remembered small things she mentioned, who showed up without being summoned. Those people existed. She had just been too busy serving everyone else to notice them. She watered those relationships and let the others quietly dry. 1 month later, something happened at work. A new project came up. This time, Sarah didn't wait to be chosen. She walked into her manager's office. She sat down. She looked him in the eye and said, I want to lead this project, and here is exactly why I'm the right person. She spoke clearly. She didn't apologize for taking up space. She didn't shrink. Her manager looked at her, really looked at her, as if seeing her for the first time. Sarah, he said slowly, I didn't know you wanted this. You never asked, she said simply, but I'm telling you now. She got the project, and Priya. 2 weeks after that phone call, Priya showed up at Sarah's door, with coffee, with snacks, with no agenda. I just wanted to check on you, she said. I realized I never do that, and I should. Sarah smiled. Not the old smile, the one she wore like a mask, the one that said, I'm fine, don't worry about me. This was a different smile, real, warm, earned. So why do people take you for granted? Not because you are weak, not because you are unlovable, not because the world is cruel, but because you have shown them, through 1,000 small moments, that your time has no limit, your energy has no cost, and your presence requires no appreciation. You train them, and the good news, you can train them differently, not with anger, not with walls, not by becoming someone cold and hard, but by doing 3 things. 1, value yourself first, because people treat you the way you treat yourself. 2, let your absence be felt. You cannot be taken for granted if you are not always there. 3, speak up for what you want. Invisible people don't get chosen. Visible people do. The world will not automatically see your worth. You have to show it. You have to protect it. You have to believe it, even before anyone else does, because here is the final truth. People take you for granted only as long as you allow it, the moment you decide your value. The world has no choice but to agree. If this story spoke to something inside you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because somewhere out there, there is a Sarah who is still scrolling through 47 contacts and putting the phone down. This video is for her. This video is for you. You are not furniture. You are the whole room. Thank you for watching.